Hashtag, as you can see, Skypoll yes or Skypoll no. Ashghar Bukhari here in the studio with me. When we look at that poll, public opinion sees these. They don't see them as being, as you say, racist. They just see them as being cartoons about religion.
A, I would say most people probably haven't even seen them. Two,
well, that's because they're not being published in any of the mainstream papers.
Rightly so. We wouldn't publish black people, as I said, as zoo animals. So why should we treat the Muslims any different? Why are we less human? Why do we have less feelings? And why are our lives not affected by this type of demagoguery?
But it's not just the cartoons that you're referring to and comparing them to cartoons, comparing black people to apes. It's not just cartoons. It's things like the Museum of Metropolitan Art in New York removing all historical representations quietly of Muhammad from its galleries. There are lots of mainstream images of Muhammad that are not shown, and they're not in any way offensive.
The problem with this is it's being seen, and I believe wrongly, through the prism of freedom of speech. Those attacks yesterday are really to be seen through the prism of the war on terror. The Al-Qaeda Yemen alleged to have carried out the attack. It was the foreign policy that has polarised this world, both on both sides, that is creating extreme reaction, extreme human beings on both sides of this world, and that is just another symptom of what's happening in the war of terror. If we really want to dig into this, don't remove images of the Prophet from a museum. Get to the root of this, and this is the devastation across the world.
The right targets in the war on terror, do you think?
Absolutely not. But then I would argue that these cartoonists should never have been killed. Of course they shouldn't, but they're still racist. It's not either we support the terrorists or we support the racists. No, we can have a middle ground. This is, I don't support these terrorists. I don't killing people for disagreeing with me, but neither am I going to support a racist who goes around demonising millions of people.
Douglas Murray, do you think these... Douglas Murray, let's bring you in now. Sorry. These cartoonists, do you think they were racists?
Could I please come in and correct? You've given goodness knows how much time to this extremist Ashghar Bukhari to have his say. Could I please now have my say about this? It's only 24 hours since a dozen people were gunned down in their offices in Paris. It's really rich that Sky News should be giving this platform at this moment
We're
to
giving
this
you your
man
platform, sir. Do give us your view.
But who you've also allowed to just smear the people who were murdered so brutally in Paris yesterday. You've just allowed them to smear those people as racist. Charlie Hebdo, let me please finish my point. Charlie Hebdo, you don't know this, like you don't know any of the background of this, Ashghar, but Charlie Hebdo is a secularist, far left-wing, anti-racist magazine. It has made a particular delight in recent years, quite rightly, of lampooning and attacking very virulently the far right-wing leader, Marine Le Pen. You say rubbish because you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do.
Let me make the more important point. Let me make the more important point on this.
Actual debate, or are we going to talk about the actual issues here?
Let me make the important point on this, which is that this is not to do with the war on terror, as Ashghar Bukhari wants to talk about. This is about freedom of speech.
Please let him speak.
More importantly, you have been massively diverted in this programme from what has actually happened and why. What is going on at the moment, worldwide, and particularly in Europe, is an attempt to shut down any and all criticism of Islam, one religion alone. I'll hold up for a moment. Don't worry, it's not a cartoon of Muhammad. You don't have to get scared. This is the Christmas edition of Private Eye, an image which, on the front cover, lampoons, and quite rightly, quite amusing, not very, the Virgin Mary and Jesus, and has various jokes about where the frankincense should have been bought from and so on. That's perfectly commonplace. But you know what? If anyone had gone into Private Eye's offices yesterday and massacred the staff because of it in the name of Christianity or Jesus, I think that not only would all of the papers today have been a lot more robust, they would have shown, at the very least, shown this image to show what the person was who did the killing was so irate about. The fact is that there is something going on which we have to identify. It is an attempt in our societies to make Islam, and in particular the founder Islam, immune from any criticism. It cannot be allowed to continue.
Do you think there is a Muslim double standard going on here?
No, I'd say there was a Western double standard. Both Obama and Bush have not only killed journalists but had them locked up, and including Al Jazeera journalists in Yemen, and asking the dictator there to lock them up because they were asking the wrong facts. So how on earth can it be just a Muslim issue? What they do, and typical people like Mr. Murray...
in the sense that you say that any representation of Muhammad or any criticism of him in press is different than criticising Christianity, criticising criticising Judaism like Charlie Hebdo has done.
It's not about criticism. It's about demonisation. If you want to debate with me, Mr. Murray, the coward that you are, you won't take me up on it. But in a public debate, let the public come. We can have a critical debate on. We can have a critical debate. Well, yeah, that's right. You run away. You keep running away.
Please try not to make it personal. We are having a public debate, and you've had yours saying he's had his. There's no need to make it personal, sir.
Fine. So what I would say is this. Again, I go back to the point. When you have a white middle class being demonised, there's nothing to fear. But when you have an underclass, like the Jews or the blacks, and now the Muslims, and I find it strange that white liberals can't see this. I can understand why right-wing nuts can't see this. But why can white liberals not see that? Why are we so different? Why do we have to be demonised? It's not about criticism. It's a false argument.
OK, let's bring in Jodie. Let's bring in Jodie Ginsberg. Sorry, I'm just going to try and deflate some of the heat out of this, Douglas.